All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are going to break down a masterclass in handling a transient ischemic attack. A TIA, history station. This is an absolutely crucial skill for any medical student or junior doctor, especially if you've got OSCEs coming up.
Okay, so here's how we're going to do this. We're going to walk through this entire consultation, step by step, from the second you walk in the door to the final plan. And look, we're not just talking about ticking off clinical boxes here. We're really going to zero in on those communication skills because honestly, that's what can make or break your performance.
Right? That first minute, it is so critical. I'm not just talking about saying your name. This is where you set the entire tone. You build that rapport, you establish trust, and you take control of the consultation. Seriously, if you nail this first 60 seconds, the rest of the station just flows so much more smoothly.
Now, look at these steps. They seem so simple, right? But what they do is create this safe professional space literally from the get-go, acknowledging that the patient is going through something tough, asking if she's comfortable, offering to bring her husband in. I mean, these are small things, but they have a huge impact. It shows you see them as a person, not just a case to be solved. And that's how you build trust.
Okay, let's get into the real meat of it, the history. This is where a structured approach helps you uncover the clues and really lets your clinical reasoning shine. And that opening question, can you tell me more about what happened? I mean, it's textbook for a reason. You're letting the patient lead. You get their story in their own words, completely unfiltered. This is where you get that pure, high-yield information before you start narrowing things down.
So what are we seeing here? You've got these classic stroke-like symptoms. Right-sided weakness, she dropped a cup, her face felt numb, her tongue felt heavy. But the absolute key, the thing you have to pick up on, is that it all went away. It resolved completely. That's the very definition, the hallmark of a TIA. Now, this next question is so important. Did you experience this weakness before? You're trying to figure out, is this a one-off weird event, or is there a pattern here? Because, a history of similar episodes, that just shoots your suspicion for TIA right through the roof. It tells you this is a high-risk situation. And boom, there it is, a pattern of these neurological events coming and going. And notice this, it's not always the same side. First the left, now the right. What does that tell you? It's probably not some single localized issue. It's pointing towards something systemic, something vascular. You gotta love this systematic approach here. The doctor is just taking off a mental checklist of red flags. Vision changes? Check. Trouble swallowing? Check. Speech issues? Check. Every yes is another piece of the puzzle helping you build that clinical picture of a TIA and start ruling out other nasty stuff. So, why is this happening to this patient? Well, here's your answer. The risk factors. Uncontrolled high blood pressure, diabetes, these aren't just background noise. They're the whole context. Uncontrolled hypertension is a massive driver for both strokes and TIAs, so spotting this is an absolute top priority. All right, so we've been doing a lot of clinical fact-finding. Now let's switch gears. We have to talk about the human side of this, because this patient is terrified. And honestly, how you handle that fear is every bit as important as getting the diagnosis right. And here it is. I was concerned that it happened something in my head, doctor. I mean, that's it. That's the real fear spoken out loud. This is the moment that separates a good clinician from a great one. Your response right here, it can't just be medical facts. It has to be pure empathy. And that response, it's just perfect. It does two crucial things. First, it acknowledges her anxiety. It says, I hear you and I understand this is upsetting. It validates her feelings. And second, it gives her a clear promise. We're going to take care of that. It's not just comforting, it's empowering. Okay, so you're pretty sure you know what's going on. Now comes the hard part. How do you explain this to a patient who's already really worried without using a bunch of confusing medical jargon that's just going to freak them out even more? This is where the term mini stroke is so powerful. It's an analogy that people just get. Stroke conveys the seriousness, right? But mini and the fact that it's resolved, that immediately offers some reassurance. It tells them it's not the big one, not yet anyway. Think about your language here. Your goal is to motivate, not to terrify. You don't want to paralyze them with fear. By framing this TIA as a warning sign, you're telling them, okay, this is our chance. We can act now to prevent something much more serious. It makes them a partner in their own care, not just a victim of it. All right, diagnosis explained. Now for the action plan. Let's look at how we give the patient clear, urgent next steps that they can actually understand and follow. Giving a patient a clear, numbered plan like this is just chef's kiss. It's fantastic. Why? Because when you're scared and confused, a simple 1, 2, 3, 4 list is something you can hold on to. It reduces anxiety, makes it easy to remember, and makes it way more likely they'll actually follow through, especially with that urgent referral.
Okay, we're almost done. But remember, the consultation doesn't end when you walk out of the room. It's not over until you've done 2 last crucial things. Provide a safety net for the patient and document everything properly for the next person. And this is a big one. Driving. This is non-negotiable. You have to give direct, crystal clear advice. No waffling. Something like, for your safety and for others, it is better to stop driving until you have full clearance. You have to be firm. It's a massive safety issue. And finally, the documentation. Look at this SOAP note. It's the perfect summary of the whole encounter. It's concise, it's professional, and it tells the next clinician everything they need to know to pick up where you left off. Good notes like this are absolutely vital for safe, continuous patient care. So that brings us to the big question, right? How do you take a patient's absolute moment of fear and turn it into an opportunity for life-saving, proactive care? Well, it's by doing exactly what we've just walked through. You combine that sharp clinical knowledge with real, genuine, empathetic communication. You see the TIA not just as a label, but as a warning shot, a chance to step in and prevent a disaster down the line. Thank you for joining this explainer.